It's March. It's way too early to label a player as a bust in 2022 fantasy football. However, it's not out of the question maybe down on a few players right in today's episode, talking about a few running backs. I just don't love way too early here in 2022.
Yeah. Analytics off the chain, all the channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game.
What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there. Today we're talking about a couple running backs that I just don't love as of right now. Doesn't mean I'm completely off the bandwagon and going to avoid them, at all costs. No, it's March. A lot of things can change over the last 4 months or so before we start actually drafting teams in fantasy football. But as of right now, there's a couple guys that maybe I just have dropped down a few spots that really need to have some things change here over the coming weeks and the coming months to really make me buy back into them. Now remember, it's fantasy football and everybody has a price. We don't avoid anybody for sure. At the right price in any draft, we'll take a stab at any one of these guys, right? But we're not going to reach, we're not going to go off of their current consensus ranking because it's just a little bit too early. As of right now, we're not going to waste any time. Hit the like button because we're diving right in. And the first one, probably going to make your ears perk up because it's Cam Akers of the Los Angeles Rams. And I totally understand why maybe that made your ears perk up a little bit because we saw a huge volume down the stretch from Cam Akers, right? Coming back super early from the torn Achilles, wasn't expecting a whole lot. And then all of a sudden the Rams just said, F it, we're giving them the ball all the time. And a lot of people started getting super excited, but I'm just a little bit worried because yes, the volume was there, but the explosiveness, the agility that we saw maybe pre-injury just didn't look the same. And if I gotta be honest here, let me make eye contact with the right camera this time. I have to admit to you that since I started listening to the Dr. Ethan Turner, I have gotten progressively better at fantasy football because the risks that I'm taking are a little bit more calculated when it comes to injuries. And when he started talking Cam Akers, I started listening. So maybe you missed out on that. Do you know we have an audio podcast? If you're not on the audio podcast, you're missing out hardcore because there's a ton of great information there. We actually put down a highlight video a couple weeks ago, but the doc talked about Cam Akers. So instead of me here trying to regurgitate what he said, just take a listen what the doc had to say in a past podcast here on the show.
Last week, this week, neither week did they have him running any type of dynamic decision-making runs. It was all one cut, almost always one cut off of his good foot and then go. And if he got caught, he got caught. And he got caught pretty much every time. He never really broke anything away. He broke free on a pass. But in terms of running the football, people will say, oh yeah, he looked really fast. Sorry, but your eyes are deceiving you, my dudes, because he should be faster than the dudes that are catching him, and he's not right now. So I don't think he looked as explosive. Yes, did he look quick? Yeah, all these dudes look quick, man. Sorry, they're professional football players. So yes, he did look quick, and that was impressive. But the biggest concern that I had watching him was every time he ran up the gut and tried to shift off of that foot, it was like someone had shot him in the leg again. He would try to cut off that foot and it would be like, basically it looked like he just didn't get any push off of it. He would try to cut off that foot and go the other direction. And it would be like he would get caught every single time. Every single time I watched him try to make a cut in the middle of the field off of that foot, the explosion was completely gone. He basically stopped. It looked like he was running in quicksand. That is my biggest concern going forward with this injury. We've seen this a lot of times with these guys with Achilles injuries. The thing that is affected the most is their burst, the ability to go from 0 to 100 as quickly as possible. And that is my only concern.
And as I listened to that, it made a lot of sense, right? And if you go back and actually watch the film from the games there end of the season, he is like dead on. Cam Akers, the one cut and go, being chased down, it's somewhat concerning. Now, we can say that we still have time, right? He has time to progressively get better over the next few weeks and the next few months. So that's why we're not going to completely write off Cam Akers right now. That's why you can't label people as a bust in March. A lot can change here. Now, he's definitely somebody who we're going to be paying close attention to because this guy could be fringe top 12 running back coming off the board. That's some high draft capital, more than likely a first or second round pick, depending on how large your league size is. But he's somebody to pay attention to, right? Because we know the talent is there. We know the opportunity is going to be there because they love themselves some Cam Akers. I mean, that's apparent, right? Cam Akers comes back from a torn Achilles. They don't care about nobody else. He's getting the ball, and I expect that to continue. However, I don't want to have to rely on an inefficient running back maybe that early in the draft. I mean, there's just so many question marks surrounding him. What happens with the Rams this offseason? Who all do they really bring back? A lot of question marks, but Cam Akers definitely somebody, as of right now, I don't love early on, and that's just because he's ranked super high based off of late season volume in 2021. All right, what about another guy? How about Alvin Kamara? Alvin Kamara of the New Orleans Saints is somebody who, as of right now, I just don't love Alvin Kamara, and a lot of it has to do with the upcoming assault case that happened the weekend of the Pro Bowl. That is no bueno when it comes to fantasy football, but more so, who's the quarterback in New Orleans right now? Does anybody know? I mean, what's going to happen with Michael Thomas in this offense? We have a new coaching staff. It's no longer Sean Payton. It's now Dennis Allen, who's a former defensive coordinator, and Alvin Kamara is going to remain inside the top 12 running backs. I don't know if I want to take that risk. Now, obviously, we probably have some time to clear up a few of these things over the next few months before the season starts. But as of right now, with all the talent at the running back position, especially that early in your fantasy football drafts, I don't know if Alvin Kamara, as of right now, is going to be worth that type of risk. Sure, we want to have the old Alvin Kamara production back, but how does that change post Sean Payton? I'm a little bit worried, if I'm being completely honest. Definitely another name we're paying close attention to. And like I said, that the pending assault case, that has big ramifications, right? I mean, who knows what's going to come of that? If anything, just something to pay attention to. I don't like drama. Do you like drama? Like, I don't want to have to look at my roster and not only try to figure out great matchups, but then put all the drama on top of it. I'm just not that type of guy. I ain't got time for the drama, right? So more than likely, as of right now, it's way too early. Don't love Alvin Kamara. What about another big name? Maybe a surprise to a few as well. I know not a popular opinion when it comes to other guys on this show, even with me. Some of our own guys still like themselves some Saquon Barkley. I don't love Saquon Barkley. I mean, you burn me once, shame on you. Burn me twice, shame on me. Burn me thrice? Yeah, no freaking chance, right? Not going to happen this year because there's like a stigma around the New York Giants, and maybe the incoming coaching change with Brian Daboll will change some things, but what happens at quarterback? Are they going back to the well of Daniel Jones? Do they bring in somebody like a Mitch Trubisky? Okay, cool. I actually like Mitchy Biscuits a lot more than I like Daniel Jones, if I'm being completely honest, especially with Brian Daboll, who he was just with in Buffalo. But what has happened to Saquon over the last few years? The efficiency has absolutely tanked. And another thing that has totally disappeared, the big plays. His yards per carry have gone down every single year, and he had more touchdowns in his rookie year alone than the next 3 years combined. He doesn't suck. Trust me, I like the talent of Saquon Barkley. The situation in New York, iffy. They still have a ton of pass-catching weapons. Are they going to commit to the passing game out of the backfield with him? Going to depend on the quarterback as well, right? Another thing to pay attention to, his injury history is super annoying. The doc talks about his injury history quite a bit, and the team performance overall is just frustrating. Now, he could be your running back 2 this year. Do I hate that? I don't hate that, right? It really depends on when you can get him, because obviously the ceiling is super high. But so is the risk, and how many times can you get burned by Saquon Barkley is the absolute question. And as of right now, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, there are so many great options at the running back position. Now, they run out quickly because everybody drafts them super early, so don't forget that. But there's other guys out there going to be in a similar, area of your draft that I feel are a lot safer, that still offer a pretty high ceiling, and those will be the guys that we start discussing a little bit more here as the offseason goes on. So make sure you stay subscribed and hit the little bell notification. It doesn't cost you anything to hit that bell notification, and then you'll make sure that you are up to date on all the information coming out here this offseason. But there's going to be a lot of guys over the next few weeks and the next few months that we kind of like, we don't like. If I'm being completely honest, there's not a lot of running backs that I don't like this year. The top 25, 30 or so, I could find having some sort of fantasy role for your team here this year. We're going to discuss them a lot more in depth here over the next few weeks, so make sure you stay tuned. Looking forward to talking this, but I want to know, what do you think? These are some pretty big name guys, and they may catch you off guard a little bit. What do you think? Are you worried about any three of these guys? Leave that comment down below. I would love to have a conversation with you about these guys, and the comment section is the perfect place to do that. We try to stay as interactive as we possibly can on this channel. We do our best to get to as many comments, especially here in the offseason, that we can possibly get to. So leave those comments down below. Looking forward to talking to you guys. But for now, hopefully you have a great rest of your day, a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later.
I'm a headliner.